The Woodcutter's Story. When the rice was ready to eat, Big Mo spread the usual big leaves on the mat, dipped some of the hot rice with his bare hands onto the leaves, and sat down to eat with Dookie. Did Mo forget to put on the silverware? No. It was the custom to eat rice and curry with your fingers. Playful Dookie fed little bits of rice to her doll. This was the one Mo had carved when she was a tiny girl, and it was still her favorite toy. She laughed as Mo made wry faces. "Dolly says the bite is too hot," said Big Mo teasingly. "Dolly says the bite is too salty." "Dolly says the bite is too sour." Dookie laughed and laughed and laughed. But Big Mo was so much fun. He played with her as if he were a little girl, too. Then Dookie said, "I think I hear Cola coming." Mo looked out of the open doorway. Yes, Cola is coming with the cows, and he has the kind woodcutter with him. He took care of the cows while we were gone. He is the one who told me about the wonderful magic of the mission doctor. "Good evening." The greetings were friendly and sincere. The woodcutter was glad to see that Dookie was able to come home again, and Cola stopped to talk a few minutes after putting the cows in the enclosure. The woodcutter offered to milk the cows while Big Mo finished his supper. But Big Mo said, "You have already done more for me than I can ever repay. But come, sit down and have supper with us. There is plenty of rice, and you are welcome to eat with us." "Thank you," said the woodcutter, taking a leaf from the stand and squatting before the rice kettle. For a brief moment he bowed his head in an attitude of prayer. Then he reached his hand into the kettle and took some rice and began to eat. "I have many things to tell you," said Mo. He recounted his experience from the time the woodcutter advised him to take Dookie to the mission. He concluded with the story of the charm doctor's surprise visit at the pool and of the charm doctor's sudden ducking. "Perhaps I should not have been so rough with him," said Mo, "but I will teach him to keep his hands off the little one." He rose, took down the milk jars, and got ready to milk the cows. "If you will bring the jars," he told the woodcutter, "I will take Dookie." They went to the enclosure where the cows were waiting. When the milking was done and the milk had been strained and put in the jars to cool, Big Mo, the woodcutter, and Dookie sat on the stones outside the door of the house and talked while they watched the moon rise over the palm trees. "I too have a story to tell you," began the woodcutter. Mo was so glad to have someone to talk to eat with, and to confide in, that he was guilty of forgetting his duty as a host. "I am sorry, my friend, that I have been doing most of the talking tonight," said Mo. "I fear I have almost been rude. Please forgive me, and I will listen gladly to your story." "It happened before I became a Christian," said the woodcutter. "I did not know about the God in heaven. But like so many people in the Savara villages, I was in constant fear of the spirits and the curses of the charm doctor. At the time of the great drought, my rice crop dried up. I was a poor man with only one cow, and I depended upon the sale of milk to support my wife and me. I know now that it was dishonest to put water in the milk that I sold, but I was desperate at that time. I will confess that often the water was not even clean. When the calf came, I was happy. But within the week, a spotted leopard came and took the calf from me. It did no good to seek the advice of the charm doctor, for he only told me it was the will of the spirits. They were angry with me," he said, "because I did not pay a large sum of money to the charm doctor. I was so poor I could hardly afford to put flowers on the shrine. Then, to avoid greater misfortune, the charm doctor took my one cow to prevent further evil by the spirits. My wife became ill from lack of proper food. I scuttled around the garbage heaps like the mangy, skinny cats that eat the same fare. When our baby was born, my wife was so weak and ill that she died that same night. It seemed I had lost everything but the baby. She was so tiny and helpless. She cried pitifully all the time. The charm doctor told me that the reason all the trouble had come to me was because the baby was a girl. He said that to appease the spirits, I must put my newborn baby girl on the funeral pyre of my dear wife that morning. A kind neighbor prepared the little shroud to wrap her in. At the funeral, I felt I could not endure the sorrow. Everything I had was gone. There lay my wife with my infant daughter still alive, resting on her bosom, ready to be burned. I had to do something. While the charm doctor was busy lighting the fire on the one side of the pile of dry twigs, I slipped around and snatched the little one and ran into the jungle. I ran like a wild animal. How far I ran, I do not know. But when I was too exhausted to run any further, I dug a hole in the ground like an animal and crawled in with my baby to hide. I gave the little one a name, Dorbagini, which means bad luck. I did everything I could to keep her alive. I fed her the juice of berries. I chewed grass and gave her the liquid from it. I secretly milked a neighbor's goat in order to give her milk. Then one day I found that little Dorbagini had a sore mouth. So in utter despair I took her to the mission lady in a nearby village. She did her best to save the baby, but it was too late. The Christians at the mission were kind to me. They told me of the God in heaven who loved me. They had a very different funeral for my little Dorbagini, and soon I became a Christian. Since then, I have been cutting wood and earning an honest living wherever I can. The woodcutter's story was ended. Little Dookie had been listening with interest, and there were tears in her eyes. "Poor little Dorbagini," she said. "I am sorry you lost your little girl. I would have loved her too." "Thank you," said the woodcutter. "If she had lived, she would be about your size and ready for school." "I think I will go to the mission school when the next term starts," said Dookie. "My friend Luana goes to the school." Big Mo thought he should do a bit of explaining. "It would be too far to go to the mission school from here, so I plan to buy some land and build a bigger house near the mission. Would you be interested in this place, my friend, with 3 good cows in the bargain?" "Me? This place?" echoed the woodcutter. "Yes," said Mo, "and there are good rice terraces on the hillside to the north." "But I am a poor woodcutter. I have no money, and this place would cost many rupees. I could never pay you." "I am your brother now, for I too am a Christian," said Mo. "I will make it easy for you because you told me where to go in my great need. Because of you, I still have my little girl. We can see the headman of the village in the morning and sign the papers. You are my brother. I will trust you." "But the cows?" asked the woodcutter. "I will need only one. I will give the other one to my friend Kola." "Big Mo," said Dookie, "can we keep Spindle-Legs?" "We will keep Spindle-Legs. Some day soon she will have a calf, and then, perhaps, I will be a 2-cow man again. Thank you, my Christian brother. You will make me rich indeed. But now I must go, for we all need rest. May the God in heaven watch over us all and protect us through the night." After the woodcutter had gone, Mo spread the 2 sleeping mats on the floor. He put the rice kettle back on the flat stones on the fireplace, then took the broad leaves and threw them over the fence to the cows. Soon the man and his little girl were sound asleep.